Hello everybody, Ben Rogers here, the Raptors Digest, reacting to some Toronto Raptors news, Riker. We had a little Woj bomb come in, but I don't know if I want to give credit to Woj because, he came out with this tweet, just a day ago. Ishmail Wainright has agreed to a 2-year contract with the Toronto Raptors. So, Woj is breaking this news yesterday. However, you and I called this about a month ago, Riker. We made a video, Raptors signing NFL player, ? We had Wainwright on our radar for the past month and a half, so maybe we should make the Ben Rogers, Riker Richard bomb, because that's we beat Woj to this one, Riker.
Yes, yeah. Well, who reported it first? I don't even remember at this point, but the quick highlights. 4 seasons at Baylor basketball, never averaged more than 6 points per game, did Ishmail Wainright, but his defense was so strong, being 6'5" with a 7'1" wingspan, that he started most of his games in his final 2 years. After that, he played 1 season as a tight end for the Baylor football team, then got picked up by the Buffalo Bills NFL team. I guess he got signed for summer contract, never actually played an NFL game, then went back to basketball, played overseas in Germany, France, African League, and here we are, Ben. So an exciting guy who is going to suit up for the summer league starting tomorrow or maybe today, depending on when we post this, which we are going to go live for. What are you feeling? Ishmail Wainright. How you feeling about that, Ben?
Man, as you brought up, right, I have a stats. We got to look over the fence once again for this list of stats, Riker. But, he's a guy, as you mentioned, he improved his three-point shooting throughout his career, but never was the most efficient player. However, in the NBA Africa League, was splashing threes for Team Uganda. We don't have his stats up here now, but was really being able to create some tough step backs, not just those basic sort of set shots we see a lot of guys that are efficient three-point shooters take because they only take the completely open ones. He was taking some difficult off-balance threes, which is going to be necessary for a guy that's 6'5" in the league. However, the defense, that's his bread and butter. The hustle, the energy. I know the Raptors love to pick up these players, and maybe people are looking at the team last year and saying, oh, another one of these guys. We tanked with these players, another Stanley Johnson-esque player, but I don't know. I don't know if that's going to be the direction for this player because he is legitimate clamps. Because obviously Bembry and, Paul Watson, they hustled. They hustled on this team, but they weren't big. They weren't OG Anunoby-esque, getting in front of people, taking those hits and, being a brick wall as people run into you. But Ishmael, he's going to be a guy that really is a monster out there. As you mentioned, former NFL player, played for the Buffalo Bills, or got signed at least for that team. And then 7'1", is it 7'1" or 7'3" wingspan, Riker?
7'1", 7'3" wingspan. I'm seeing 7'1", but
okay. But
who really knows? 235 pounds. He's heavier than Birch and Achua.
So we need someone to guard Embiid. We got our guy at 6'5", just going to be a complete brick wall down there in the paint. But honestly, as jokes aside, because the Raptors have acquired a bunch of hustlers over the years or over the past few seasons, I like that he's a promising three-point shooter. He can bully his way to the rim. If you watch the highlights, we had a little highlight reel in the last video, and if you specifically look at his highlights in the NBA Africa League, which is his most recent playing of basketball, your most up-to-date look at Wainright, he looks like he has some touch on the offensive end. And sure, yes, all these guys, you look at them, they're 26 years old. They're not necessarily young players, but they're young for the NBA. They're young for that NBA sort of development system. And I think there's a lot of room for growth. There isn't a broken jump shot there by any means. So Riker, even, people hate it when we say development guys because the Raptors want to win now, but he has an NBA-ready skill in his defense. You can throw him out there and he can lock up some guys. He has an NBA-ready skill in terms of three-point shooting, maybe not necessarily at the level of a Steph Curry or Fred VanVleet, so to speak, but definitely a guy that can at least make the set ones. And then if he really grows on the ball handling side of things, the off the dribble contested shooting, he can be a really nice player for this team.
Don't even think he needs to, Ben. You don't need to get ahead of yourself here because there is a perfect player comparison that should get everybody excited. And it's recent NBA champion and one-time former Toronto Raptor, PJ Tucker. Also 6'5", also known as a 3-and-D guy, also played, he got drafted by Toronto actually, played only 17 games, then he went and played in Israel, Ukraine, Greece, Germany. Very similar to Ishmail Wainright, comes back to the NBA at 27 years old. The comparisons don't stop there. Doesn't average more than 6 to 9 points per season, but guess what? He's invaluable in most teams that he plays in because he can hit that corner three and he plays incredible gritty defense. Ishmail Wainright could easily be that guy without even having to develop much of a, dribble move or create his own shots. So this is a promising pickup, even if his stats don't jump out at you because of his size, his stature, and what he's able to do on the defensive end.
Yeah, I love that PJ Tucker comparison because that's exactly who this guy is, right? I never even thought of that there, but man, just the level of grit that those types of players bring to your team, it's really game changing. Obviously, the Raptors sort of remember that when PJ Tucker was on the roster, and we've gotten guys like the likes of OG Anunoby, now hopefully Scotty Barnes, but to add another one of those guys, which are infinitely valuable in the modern NBA here today. We saw what PJ Tucker did for the Milwaukee Bucks this playoff run. They won the NBA championship, and sure, Kevin Durant had his way getting buckets and all these sorts of things, but having just a big body to get under his skin and not make things easy for a guy like Kevin Durant, or I know James Harden was injured, but Chris Paul, whoever they had to switch him on to, PJ Tucker can get under people's skin. And if Wainwright can come out and knock down those threes, right, not be a liability on the offensive end, which we don't think he'll be, watching his highlights, looking at his stats, sure, it's not the most intriguing three-point shooting percentages in his pro days, but the NBA Africa League, I know it's a small sample size, really just amped up that three-point shooting. If he can just have those two skills specifically, right? The Raptors, as we always joke about, we've had our problems with 3-and-D players in the past, right? But that trend is kind of turning now in the recent years, even though the Raptors were tanking last season. I think it could be a perfect pickup, and just look at how big this man is. I had this picture loaded up. I forgot to mention it while we were talking about his football days, but he is a big dude, and he's probably longer than a PJ Tucker as well. So, as you mentioned, he's heavier than both of our centers. Just an absolute monster to bring into this squad, Riker.
Yep. Maybe not too much else to say about this guy here yet, but we'll see. But what I like is that he's on the Summer League roster. Again, The game's starting on Sunday, whether this video comes out today, Saturday, or Sunday, or even Monday. I don't know. We'll be hopefully doing some live reactions to those games, so we'll be able to see him in action. But if PJ Tucker carved himself out a long NBA career, never averaging more than 6 to 9 points, just because he's able to be a good three-point shooter, a good knockdown guy, and a terrific defender that can play really any position from the three to, or defend any position from the 3 to the 5. Ishmail Wainright, no reason he couldn't do the same thing. So nice young pickup. I'm really intrigued by this one.
Yeah, and I guess we got to end it off with, obviously, we'll see how everything plays out, right? People earn their minutes, especially in a Nick Nurse system. We'll see guys that are starting lose their spots. Deep bench players get their opportunity and show out for a team, right? He gives everyone their opportunities. But Riker, where do you see Wainright potentially being in the rotation by the end of next season? I don't know if he'll necessarily be there to start. Obviously, everyone's got to earn their position, earn their spots, and I think there might be some higher guys up in the pecking order just coming into the season, right? Maybe Utah, who played for the team last year. David Johnson, I guess he was a second-round pick, so he doesn't have much rapport, but the 2-3 position is an area we're lacking a little bit of depth. Maybe Sam Decker could be pushed down to that area because he's tall, but he's not much of he's not going to be your brute down low guarding on the defensive end. He's going to be a pure shooter. Where do you sort of see him in the pecking order? Because I know you and I are both high on David Johnson for this starting year, but Wainright, if he can bring that grit, he could be really competing for those backup shooting guard minutes. And now Dragic, I'm giving myself the Charles Barkley whenever I mess it up. People are roasting me in the comments section as deserved. But Riker, Where do you think he's going to end up on maybe the backup shooting guard, backup wing position?
I think he's ending up 905 this season because the Raptors need scoring. They need scoring, and this guy doesn't provide that. So when you have a team that you have scorers off the bench, or you know your starters can get it done, that's when you layer in your best defensive core to really anchor and make a complete lineup. But until we figure out the scoring, who's going to be that guy off the bench, who's going to lead the bench mob, will Dragic and Malachi Flynn and Achua get it done? I don't see a guy that doesn't have a lot of offensive talent really cracking the roster this season. So I see him being development guy, and then maybe when we figure it out, he could potentially come up. But I think you hit the point. You know, maybe a guy like Decker probably get run before him, or a guy like Johnson, whoever. So we'll see what happens.
I don't think Johnson's officially back. We still gotta receive word on Stan the Man. But
what was his name? Not Stanley Johnson.
Oh, David Johnson. David Johnson.
David Johnson. Yeah,
I'm thinking of the Stanimal. We'll see. Well, yeah, there's been no words on Stanley Johnson, so we'll see. Obviously, he went from arguably becoming the next Gold Star Award for a lot of Raptors' eyes. I know that that wave has pushed towards our guy. Actually, Aaron Baines. Obviously, we've been positive on. We joke around. A lot of people. He's hurt a lot of Raptors fans' hearts over the course of the season, but you know he's a high character guy. He's a high character player, and unfortunately for him. We'll probably make a little YouTube Shorts video about it, but the Team Australia in the Olympics, they had their medal ceremony today, and Aaron Baines wasn't able to make it there because he was injured early in this sort of Olympic run, and it was a neck injury that they didn't think was absolutely horrible, but it ruled him out for the rest of the Olympics. But apparently there's significant nerve damage being done to his neck, according to Shams. So you know, we're just hoping Aaron Baines gets healthy and he's able to compete in the 2021-2022 offseason. For as you know, he came in with expectations to be a starting center. He didn't live up to those expectations, but he's still an NBA guy. He's still a very high character guy in the league. And for as memed as he's been amongst Raptors fans, I don't think there's anything you can say about his effort, the energy he put into this team. He tried his best, and you know, we love Aaron Baines here. We love him as a guy, and we're just hoping for the best for him with that serious neck injury he sustained in the Olympics or during the Olympic time. I don't think it was on the court.
No, supposedly in his bathroom, but that's just it. You don't wish an injury, especially a serious one, nerve damage, and around the neck area. So hopefully he's able to recover from that. But that basically wraps up our chat on Ishmail Wainright. Again, we're going to see him suit up very shortly in the Summer League, if not, you know, but maybe even before this video is posted. So we'll see how this guy turns out.
Yeah, no, 1,000%. You guys are the best for making this far. Check out the Instagram, the TikTok, all that cool stuff. Right, got lots of stuff coming. We're on the road to 20K subscribers, Ryker. So, you know, gotta keep plugging it. We're almost there. Help us drive this car before Lowry, as at least he gets an interview with the Miami Heat. Right, let him take us to 20K, and then we'll see where we go from there. We explode from there. But Ryker, do you have any last words on Wainwright or the Toronto Raptors going into next season?
I do not. Cheers.